The PlayStation.
Oh, good one. I see how you do
That
this
was my
out here.
segue.
Wow.
I like it. I like it.
Wow.
Yeah, we messed around with that thing.
Yeah, we
The PlayStation
there's
Classic.
a video up on the site as of you hearing this
Yes.
of us looking at the PlayStation Classic.
Mhm.
That's available.
Not to be
in
confused
December.
with the Nintendo Entertainment System Classic.
Or the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Classic.
Or the Commodore 64 classic.
Made
There's
by-
nothing classic about that thing.
And the Atari. Did they put
That's
that one
the
out?
Atari
Right?
Flashback.
Flashback.
That's not
Like,
classic.
I know
it's a flashback.
Okay.
Does not actually play flashback.
I know it's not trademarked or anything, but the fact that they just called it exactly what Nintendo called theirs, like I can't get over it.
It's a power move. I respect
I
it.
guess so.
This is called the
They all
classic.
just stole it off Coke Classic.
Yeah, sure.
So I have some questions about
Okay.
it.
What you got?
How do you guys feel about no analog sticks on the controller? Fine for the games they put on there?
They specifically chose games that would work.
Yeah.
I think it's really limiting, and like I don't think they chose great games.
Okay.
And they would be able to choose better games if they had analog sticks.
Okay.
And in a couple
But-
cases, like Metal Gear Solid, you're losing features
Right.
by not having that.
Yeah, no vibration or
Yeah.
no vibration. I don't think there's vibration.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Gotta have vibration.
No rumble. Oh,
Okay.
Rumble is so last gen.
I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, for me, we talked about this on another podcast. I can't remember what it was back in New York, probably the Beastcast.
Serial.
Serial. Yeah. It just follows the chronicles of us week after week.
Yeah,
The
we
only living
committed a lot of
podcast in New
crimes.
York.
Oh wow.
I just don't have the nostalgia for the PS1 that I think you said that's like your jam, right? Like,
PS1, no.
no,
PS2 is the
okay.
one that I played a lot of.
Yeah.
PS2 and like N64, I feel like I would buy those classics in like a second, but the other ones I'm like, I don't care about.
and for me, it was Nintendo, and specifically the Super Nintendo. It was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I can go back to these. Like, I feel good about this. And then
These
the
games are timeless.
PlayStation 1, I'm sure they're timeless for a lot of people, but
That's
for
my
me-
question. Is like those games, are they like
I don't
Destruction
know.
Derby and Jumping Flash? Like,
maybe-
don't get me wrong. Like I have respect for those games,
Yeah.
and in some ways they hold up. In other ways they definitely do not. But like really, you know,
don't
Final
know.
Fantasy VII, I get it. Like people are
Yeah.
like
fucking
Resident Evil,
ridiculous.
like that's got to be someone's like this was
Resident
my
Evil 1,
childhood.
sure, yeah. Like when we fired that up and it played the FMV, like I don't even like Resident Evil 1, but
Yeah.
even I was like, yeah, fuck this. This is awesome.
Yeah, like
That
that's.
FMV's really bad.
But also, there's like very good versions of Resident Evil out.
Yeah.
A lot of different
Yeah.
versions that make
Remakes
full
of
use
remakes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Polygonal graphics don't age the same way
No.
No,
because they're
do
still
they have a
progressing
charm
forward.
though?
Occasionally.
I can't tell. I think for me, I was older when that stuff came out, and so I
Right,
was
yeah.
already kind of like, okay, I'm like 15 or 16. Well, let's see, when did the PS1 come out?
95.
Okay,
You
so
were,
I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, I'm getting up there.
Yeah.
I think if you're like one generation removed from that, like a little younger than you know.
Yeah, if I'm like 12.
I feel like that's like kind of, you know, I was a teen when the N64 came out, and I don't. I have reverence for those games. I'll always remember those games fondly. But like looking back at them, I can look back at N64 games and say that looks like shit.
Oh, I feel like some NC, maybe I'm of the age where I think
Yeah.
that it does look nice. Like I don't think a lot of PS1 games look nice because they were going for realism in a lot of ways, and I just think it's like that is going to age out really quickly. But I feel like something like Super Mario 64,
Yeah.
I feel like that looks good. It's vibrant, it's bright. Yes, it's like
It's cartoony.
yeah, it's cartoony.
And maybe that's why like Jumping Flash actually ends up
yeah.
working better than a lot of the other games in that collection because it's just like you're a robot rabbit and it jumps around and does
That's-
stuff.
yes.
Like,
Yeah, and
you
it's
know,
just it's
and-
bright, colorful, and simple looking.
Right.
But I think for me at that time, maybe I was too old. I was already. I remembered thinking, "Hey, this would look better on a PC." Like if I,
Wow.
like the Monster Voodoo
I need
card
a
in
Voodoo
here.
too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like when I played Final Fantasy VII, I forget when it came out. It wasn't at the same time, but I played it on a PC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There was a Windows version of that.
Yeah, and like I was like, great, this is better. The resolution can be higher. I can put this up. And maybe that's not why. Maybe that's why I didn't get into Final Fantasy VII. I don't know.
I
But-
remember that hearing that port was not great in some ways.
Yeah,
so maybe there could have been some funky shit.
There's always funky shit. Barrett is very funky.
Word.
Did they keep
Oh my
Barrett?
God, that's the funky shit.
Is he-
These are the
ROMs,
original
the-
translations.
Well,
Okay.
yes and no. I was
Yeah.
saving that for later.
Oh,
but,
sorry.
Uh,
Because boy, there's some problematic stuff.
it's yes.
You mean the way that some of those games run in 50 hertz?
That's
yes,
a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to pull up here. Yeah, we saw that a couple weeks ago that a number of these games were licensed by Sony Europe.
Nice.
And we were like, why
That's
are
the
they using the
move.
European versions of these games?
It's like a different BIOS. Like, so you get like the different BIOS screens depending on what it's booting up. So sometimes you'll get the US BIOS screen. Sometimes you'll get the European BIOS screen.
How did that happen?
And so you'll
Because
like,
they're straight up running the PAL versions.
Yeah,
of this fucking
No,
thing.
no,
so
they
you'll-
like had that. Like,
nobody knows. Nobody knows
okay.
why they would do this, but yeah,
Yeah.
you'll hear it if you watch that video that we started playing Tekken 3. It was Tekken 3 in particular we started playing, and we're like, is this
Doesn't
slow?
seem right.
everybody's
This
got a
feels
weird accent.
slower than it should.
Yeah.
That's
Oi, governor, in the volcano.
So we don't know 100% for a fact, but Markman of Evo fame, who I understand is a fairly expert.
Is he where?
He's a Tekken dude.
He's
Yeah,
a-
for
yeah,
sure.
a Tekken
Yeah,
dude.
He
likes
tweeted
shoes a lot.
Monday morning is when he tweeted this. I was able to confirm simply by eyeballing early videos. Tekken 3 on the PlayStation Classic is the unplayable PAL version.
unplayable.
Yeah.
Strong words.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. I mean, you wouldn't play that. You wouldn't want to play that game at 50 hertz.
Do you think that they're okay? This is probably not how it happens, but I can imagine it happen. Are people ripping PlayStation 1 games to get the disc image off and then converting it for this thing, or is there some other way for them to do it with the code?
I
that
bet
they
that they are. Well, I don't know. We could try to pull one apart and see if we can access the file system.
have. Somebody's done it already.
Yeah, probably.
But, like-
it's not until the 7th of someone. But like I bet that there are some form of ISOs in there because you're getting the full, because this is running an not off the shelf. This is running an open source emulator called PCSX Rearmed,
Okay.
which is a known emulator that's out there.
Is it a good one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the games seem fine other than the PAL stuff.
Well, so the thing I'm wondering, I would imagine that running a game at 50 hertz would be less demanding on hardware than running it at 60. So what if whatever
the
hardware is
processing.
inside this thing
man.
cannot handle
That's dark.
Tekken 3 running at full
So
frame rate?
I like that better than the
I need
alternative.
my Tekken ball at 60.
The alternative of just someone fucked
Yes.
up.
I like
Just
that.
someone went like, oh, whatever, it's all the
Yeah,
same shit.
I like that it was at least somebody had to make a choice and be like, okay, let's just do this, instead of just like somebody being like, well, let's just download these ISOs and put them on here. And
This
then
one's
put 'em on
requesting
there.
a BIOS that isn't on here. Well, put it on there.
We'll
Or
figure it out.
SPCH
Like,
1000.
PAL is alphabetically before NTSC,
Right, yeah.
so it's the first one, and they clicked it.
It's not actually true.
Is the what? Yeah.
It's below.
but if you're coming,
That's how
from-
badly they
But
fucked
in
up.
Europe,
In
the
Europe,
alphabet's
yeah,
different.
That's right. They go from
so,
Z
yeah.
to A in Europe.
Z
I'm sorry,
to
Z to
A.
A.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the dates are backwards. I would like that better if somebody had to make a choice on it, because it just means somebody looked at it and was
Right.
like, okay, we have to
Yeah.
make this choice.
But it's weird. Like a lot of I think it's a lot of the first party stuff. But it's even Tekken. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that just
How many others do you think?
Are European?
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto is the European version. Like you see a lot of.
I want to say Toshinden, I think is.
Yeah, Toshinden one is. A lot of Destruction Derby.
Yeah,
like all those Psygnosis games.
Six or eight of them, I feel
I
like.
don't get it.
And they all boot up with the same anti-piracy screen that all of the European PS1 games did.
Yeah.
That some of them in the US retained that screen, but you see it a lot over and over again, which is weird.
Just baffling.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why they would have done
Is it-
that, but it's
There's a Japanese and a
there is a
European
PAL version,
or
yeah, and they have slightly different games.
East and West version.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's no European only version.
Yes, there is.
Oh, there is.
I think it has slightly
believe
different
that's the
games.
I want to say there's even an Australian one. I think there's one for different territories.
That's just Cow the Kangaroo.
I'm just going to ask
That's
the question
PS2
here.
game.
Just
go-
going to ask this question.
Go ahead.
When you consider the fact that the list of games on that thing is, let's just say, not the greatest. When you consider the fact that they had to excise the analog sticks for whatever reason, whether it's because they're going to do an analog version later or what, I don't know. When you consider the fact that you've got ROMs on here that are inconsistent with the the usual US releases, how fucking slapped together do you think this whole project was?
It doesn't seem great.
It kind of feels like a rapid response to something else, not a thing anyone over there really cared about or wanted to do.
I mean, they've had 2 years
It's
since the NES came
But
out.
also, like, hey, the anniversary of the launch is coming up, so that's when you launch this thing. The holidays are coming up, so they want to have it for the holidays. Maybe they just started on the project and it got weird at the end, and they were like, "Fuck it, here's a solution to this problem." I don't
And it's
know.
$100.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
20
they're running
20
with
games.
like less features than like the rearmed emulator offers.
Yeah,
So-
totally. Yeah, it's
yeah, all it's got save states or a save state per game,
a resume point.
and that's kind of it, I think.
Can you at least back out of the game from the controller with the combination?
No, you got
I
You
think-
might be able to like reset back to the menu, but you can't reset back to the. You might be able to reset to the game's main menu, but
But you
not
can't
the
get
front
out to
end.
the OS.
No, you push the reset button to do that.
So you have to get up and
Yeah.
do it.
And like, you know, the multi-disc games are still multi-disc, so you have to hit the open lid button and then select a different disc.
Wait, so you have to get up?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
They're just like the real thing.
Yeah, they want you to have the full experience.
Small but important question. How's the cord length on those things? Because that was my number one problem with this.
That's pretty short.
They were longer.
Oh, were
Okay.
We read out the length of the cables in the video, but
Great.
I don't remember
So at
off the top of my head.
some point you have to flip it over to make the games run well?
Yes.
Yeah.
we
Okay.
discussed-
Okay.
discussed
They
at
said
length.
the authentic
that's- yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
about how Resident Evil killed my first PlayStation.
Well, that's very interesting in their little classic. That's adorable. So what? They
Also, the games look slightly sharper than the real thing, I would say.
is it putting out a 1080?
720.
720. Okay, so it's
780p
doing
still.
really nice. 780p.
Yeah, 720p.
Okay.
Yeah.
Save states, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
No little memory cards?
Nope.
No. You can get to a memory card interface.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Save game management.
Nice.
I don't think I'm going to pay $100 for this.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I bet Dan will, right?
Oh,
No.
he pre-ordered like 2
Did
already.
he?
Yeah.
'cause he got some gifts.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Maybe
he
one
like
for his sister.
got one immediately and then got some
just-
for gifts.
I see him tweeting about tiny consoles constantly.
They are
He's a
adorable.
collector.
Yeah,
he likes
it's
what
true.
he likes. I'm sure it looks great on a shelf at the very least.
It's creating
I
a
don't
great
know, like,
supervillain
think so?
origin
We've
story
had
for
one
him.
sitting in there, you know, for a week or something now, and every time I look at it, I go, it's a tiny PlayStation, but
mean,
it
it's
just
novel.
kind of looks.
I also feel like that because it has. I looked at it too. It has like USB ports for the controllers, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the way they're put in too, it doesn't look. Because I feel like I remember the like NES Classic looks a little less like here's a weird rectangle we
Right.
carved into the
Yeah.
front to make it for modern controllers, which I found a little bit disappointing to see. Be like, oh, it's just like a USB port that's not
Yes.
disguised.
See,
or
that
like,
was the thing that I looked at and went like, oh, cool, maybe I could plug some other shit in here.
Yes, it is nice
and
that
do
it's
something
like
weird with it. But
Can you?
versatile,
Yeah.
or hopefully versatile. But the way it looks, the aesthetics, I feel like, is a little disappointing for that part of it, at least.
My tiny
Agreed.
PlayStation that I have at home transforms into Optimus Prime.
whoa, that's way better.
That is way
Wow.
better. And then
Did you get the Genesis that
Yes,
turns
of
into?
I'll take that over
of course
Jumping
not.
Flash any
Man.
fucking
See,
day.
I never pulled the trigger on. Did you get the Linkin Park Soundwave?
No, that's where I drew the
Why not?
line.
Why not?
I was not cool enough. I tried to. I don't know. PS1 stuff for me, I think PS1 stuff for me is this is the beginning of the 3D era.
Yeah.
It's important. I understand its importance, but I do not think I want to revisit it.
I don't
in-
want to go
Yeah,
back
I
there.
mentioned
only in the academic sense.
I mentioned absolutely. I mentioned it to Jeff on that video that the thing I wish that thing had was the demo disc that they shipped to retail stores before it came out. Because like seeing that T-Rex
Oh,
on
with the T-Rex
yeah,
on
the
it?
T-Rex on the
Yeah.
demo kiosk is
Oh,
like maybe
man.
the most well that's mean, but I was gonna say it's the most memorable.
No, you're right.
Maybe
Bubbles
the
was
most memorable experience I had with the PlayStation, just because like you've never seen anything like that
Yeah.
before. Like you walk into the store and you're like, holy shit, I have to get one of those.
They made SNK did their like Neo Geo
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, there's
right?
a
Yeah,
tiny
the thing's-
tiny arcade cabinet.
And then was there
You're trying to figure out what's left.
yeah, did PC Engine do one? Or,
No.
Okay. And then there's no Dreamcast, right?
Not
Not
currently.
yet. I mean, there's been all kinds of weird Genesis stuff happening
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
companies
those
that are not
are-
Sega.
I like I don't want to say they announced one and then pulled the announcement
think
because they
that's
were
right.
like, oh, At Games is not
Yeah.
doing At Games is doing what At Games does, which is make a bad product. So forget it.
All right. Yeah, I'm kind of figuring out. Like, could you have a good little mini console lineup at this point, or we're not quite there yet?
I would
Getting there.
almost rather they just be keychains. Like make them even smaller, non-functional. Like who cares?
Yeah, make them plug it into the HDMI port of your TV.
Yeah, like I think I have a Super Famicom that I got out of some gotcha machine in Japan.
Does it play something?
No, hell no. It's
Oh.
just a little, it's a keychain.
Oh, that's cool as hell.
Yeah, they could also transform, but that's.
Well, yeah, that would be cool. That would be cooler.
They ever figure out the emulation stuff on the Naomi boards?
Yep.
They did it.
Oh yeah.
The team cracked it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. First that, and then we're gonna land a thing on Mars, and they are
That's-
working.
Pretty much. Yeah. The 1-2 punch is
The two good things science have ever done.
Step 1, play Jumbo Safari.
Uh-huh.
Step 2,
Yeah.
Drill 16 feet into Mars.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read this email real fast because it is exactly what this conversation is about instead of saving it for later.
Okay.
Before we move on, this person asked to remain anonymous.
Mhm.
I live in Kyoto and am closely involved in the developer community here. While I have never worked with Nintendo myself, I have heard stories from others who have. This is about the emulator stuff.
This is Uncle.
We talked about this last week because Sony used an open source thing in theirs, and Nintendo went to the trouble of writing their own emulator
Mhm.
for their stuff. It seems Nintendo's position on open source software is that if they cannot secure an exclusive support contract on a piece of software, they will roll their own, often with contracted labor. This way they own the source, can do what they want with it without ever having to open source the changes, and have a direct point of contact for support. I had even heard that they had re-implemented SSL because no such security could be guaranteed of OpenSSL. This may...
I'm sure that. Oh God.
yeah.
Can you imagine?
I mean, it's why those NES and the SNES are unhackable. That's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
nobody can
No one
put-
can do it.
nobody can put
Everyone
stuff
who
on
has
it.
tried has died horribly.
Well, that wasn't what they were trying to do, though.
No, they were just flashing.
Yeah, you
things
say
down.
that. Reggie's back there cackling.
And nobody got that Star Fox 2 ROM off of there.
Imagine trying to re-implement SSL potentially with a bunch of bugs of your own that might lead to bad security situations.
The email says this may have actually turned out to be quite prescient. See the Heartbleed exploit.
Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Fair enough.
Anyway, that's probably why that happened.
Yeah. Oh,
Old
Nintendo.
consoles.
Old companies.
So that thing's not out for another weekish. is
It's
what
out
you said?
December 7th, I
Okay.
believe.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought it
Oh, the
was
week
out
all the
already.
video games are coming out.
Yep.
Okay.
$99.
So you don't know how much storage space is on there, right?
We
You
don't know anything about the internals,
Internals.
or what it's capable of when someone who knows what they're doing gets their hands on it. No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
But
how
that's the
much is
thing.
on
Like,
it.
you know, it would be interesting to hack that thing up, but I wonder if that thing will be fast enough to run the full library of PS1 games.
Right.
Or if this thing is like a little customized around, and maybe that's why they chose certain games instead of others.
Or how much more room is on it? Because if there's not a ton,
Sure.
then
But also, it's got USB ports on it, so you know,
If
if you
you
spend
can-
enough time with it, you could probably figure out a way to just throw a thing in it.
did PS1 ever have an internet adapter?
No.
No. Okay. Anything else that plugged into it that you can hide as a little, put in a little case? If you put a little hard drive, make it look like a little dongle that goes inside of it.
I mean, I had like a thing that I bought to play Japanese games on it that was just a thing you plugged into that serial port in the back.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had
So you're talking? Yeah, I was gonna
I had
say
a
like
Game Shark that did that.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was the thing I used to play Fire Pro on the PlayStation, which is the only thing I bought a PlayStation
Well,
for.
the cool thing people are doing now with that port on PlayStations is this thing called the PSIO, which just has a SD card port on it.
Oh,
You have to do some soldering inside, I guess,
I love
to actually
soldering.
make it work. Yeah, so I'll send you my PlayStation, and
Okay.
you can set me up with this.
what do? You just
You know, the SD
Solder
card does what
connection?
SD. Why would you hook an SD card up to a video game console?
so I can back up my saves.
Good call.
I want to back. I need to back everything
That's
up.
right.
Criminals are
one-
constantly stealing my saves.
Yeah, one way just goes one way, just out of it.
I already have a PS2 memory card that I can use if you want to back up your saves to a USB stick.
Then I have no use for SD
Great.
cards.
Okay.
Yeah. No. What else would I do?
Who can say?
It's like when CD burners came out. What am I going to do with this? Make my own.
Yeah, but, I'm recording my band and listening to it in my car. Thank you very much.
Burn data CD-ROMs of all my family photos. What else would I use?
These are all my tax returns.
For the last 88 years.